It was supposed to be a normal day in the small town of Brooksville. The sun was shining, and the streets were bustling with activity. But beneath the surface, something sinister was brewing. A deadly research facility. Her team was tasked with developing a cure for a mysterious disease that had been spreading rapidly. Little did they know, their experiments would unleash a horror beyond their wildest nightmares. One evening, an accident occurred in the lab. A containment breach allowed the virus to escape, infecting several staff members. Within hours, they began to exhibit strange symptoms: fever, violent behavior, and an insatiable hunger for flesh. The virus had turned them into mindless, flesh-eating zombies. Dr. Carter barely escaped the facility, but she knew the danger was far from over. She rushed to warn the town, but it was already too late. The infection spread like wildfire, turning friends, neighbors, and loved ones into bloodthirsty monsters. The once quiet town of Brooksville was now a scene of chaos and carnage. Buildings were on fire, and the streets were littered with the undead. Survivors barricaded themselves in their homes, praying for salvation. Dr. Carter took refuge in an abandoned house on the outskirts of town. She knew she had to find a way to stop the outbreak and save what was left of humanity. With her knowledge of the virus, she began working on a potential cure. But time was running out and the zombies were closing in. One night, as she worked tirelessly, a loud crash echoed through the house. The front door had been breached, and the zombies were inside. Dr. Carter grabbed her makeshift weapons, a crowbar and a kitchen knife, and prepared to defend herself. The zombies stumbled into the room, their eyes vacant and their mouths dripping with blood. Dr. Carter fought with all her might, striking down one after another. But they kept coming, relentless in their pursuit of flesh. Just as she was about to be overwhelmed, a group of survivors burst through the back door, guns blazing. Led by a former soldier named Jack, the group quickly dispatched the remaining zombies. They had been searching for other survivors and had heard the commotion. Grateful for their timely arrival, Dr. Carter joined forces with them, sharing her knowledge of the virus and her progress on the cure. The group decided to make their way to the research facility, hoping to find more resources and information. Along the way, they encountered countless obstacles: zombie hordes, treacherous terrain, and the remnants of a society in collapse. But they pressed on, driven by the hope of finding a way to end the nightmare. As they approached the facility, they realized each step bringing them closer to their goal. The air was thick with tension and the stench of decay. Inside the lab, Dr. Carter found the equipment she needed to finalize the cure. But there was one final obstacle: the source of the outbreak, a massive, mutated zombie that had been the original test subject. It was stronger, faster, and more intelligent than the others, guarding the lab with a ferocity born of madness. The group faced their toughest battle yet, fighting the mutated zombie with everything they had. Jack's military training and Dr. Carter's determination proved invaluable as they worked together to defeat the creature. It was a grueling fight, but they ultimately prevailed, destroying the mutant and securing the lab. With the lab secured, Dr. Carter quickly finished her work on the cure. She synthesized an antidote and administered it to an infected survivor, watching with bated breath as the person's symptoms began to reverse. It was a success. The cure worked. The group spread the cure throughout the town, saving countless lives and finally putting an end to the outbreak. But the scars of the ordeal remained, a stark reminder of the horrors they had faced. Dr. Carter and the survivors vowed to rebuild their shattered community, united by the hope of a better future. Years passed, and Sarah's life had returned to a semblance of normalcy. She had moved on from her harrowing experience at Blackwood Manor, but the memories still haunted her dreams. One day, she received a mysterious letter in the mail. The envelope was old and worn, and the handwriting was eerily familiar. It was from Emily. The letter spoke of a new threat that had emerged in Ravenswood. The malevolent entity had returned, and it was more powerful than ever. Emily's spirit had been awakened once again, and she needed Sarah's help to banish the entity for good. Sarah knew she couldn't ignore the plea for help, so she packed her bags and returned to Ravenswood. Upon arriving in the town, Sarah noticed that the once thriving community had fallen into disarray. The streets were empty, and the townsfolk seemed to be living in fear. She made her way to Blackwood Manor, which now stood in even greater ruin. The air was thick with a sense of foreboding as she stepped inside. Sarah was greeted by Emily's ghostly form, who explained that the entity had grown stronger and was now able to possess the living. The townsfolk had been falling victim to its influence, and the entire town was at risk. Emily revealed that there was a hidden artifact within the manor that could help them. Uncovering hidden passageways and long-forgotten secrets. Along the way, they encountered the possessed townsfolk, who attacked them with a ferocity that was both terrifying and heartbreaking. Sarah fought to protect herself and Emily, using her wits and determination to survive. As they delved deeper into the manor, they discovered a hidden library filled with ancient texts and artifacts. Among the dusty tomes, they found a journal written by the cult leader who had originally summoned the entity. The journal detailed the ritual that had gone wrong and provided clues to the location of the artifact they needed. Following the clues, Sarah and Emily made their way to a hidden chamber beneath the manor. The chamber was filled with eerie symbols and the remnants of the failed ritual. In the center of the room, they found the artifact, a mysterious amulet that pulsed with a dark energy. Emily explained that the amulet could be used to trap the entity, but it required a great sacrifice. As they prepared to use the amulet, the entity appeared, more powerful and terrifying than ever. The air grew cold, and the walls seemed to close in around them. Sarah knew that they had to act quickly to prevent the entity from escaping and wreaking havoc on the town. With Emily's guidance, Sarah began the ritual to activate the amulet. The entity roared in anger, its form writhing and contorting as it tried to break free. The ground shook, and the chamber began to collapse. In a final, desperate effort, Sarah completed the ritual, and the entity was drawn into the amulet, trapped within its dark confines. The manor fell silent once again, and Emily's ghostly form began to fade. She smiled at Sarah, her eyes now filled with gratitude and peace. "Thank you," Emily whispered before disappearing into the light. Sarah emerged from the ruins of Blackwood Manor, her heart heavy with the weight of the night's events. She had once again uncovered the truth and freed a tormented soul, but the experience had changed her forever. The story of Blackwood Manor would live on, a testament to the power of courage and compassion in the face of unimaginable horror. Years passed, and Dr. Emily Carter had built a new life for herself, but the memories of the zombie outbreak still haunted her dreams. One day, she received a mysterious package in the mail. The package contained the amulet she had used to trap the entity that caused the outbreak, along with a note that simply read, "It's not over." Emily knew that the entity had somehow escaped and was once again. She packed her bags. Upon arriving in the town, she found it in even greater disarray than before. The streets were empty, and the townsfolk seemed to be living in constant fear. Emily made her way to the research facility, which now stood in even greater ruin. The air was thick with a sense of foreboding as she stepped inside. She was greeted by Jack, who had remained in the town to protect the survivors. Jack explained that the entity had grown even more powerful and was now able to possess multiple people at once. The entire town was at risk, and they needed to act quickly to stop the entity. Together, Emily and Jack began their search for a way to defeat the entity once and for all. They ventured into the darkest corners of the facility, uncovering hidden passageways and long-forgotten secrets. Along the way, they encountered the possessed townsfolk, who attacked them with a ferocity that was both terrifying and heartbreaking. Emily fought to protect herself and Jack, using her wits and determination to survive. As they delved deeper into the facility, they discovered a hidden laboratory filled with ancient texts and artifacts. Among the dusty tomes, they found a journal written by the original scientist who had developed the virus. The journal detailed the ritual that had gone wrong and provided clues to the location of the artifact they needed to destroy the entity. Following the clues, Emily and Jack made their way to a hidden chamber beneath the facility. The chamber was filled with eerie symbols and the remnants of the failed ritual. In the center of the room, they found the artifact, a mysterious amulet that pulsed with a dark energy. Emily explained that the amulet could be used to trap the entity, but it required a great sacrifice. As they prepared to use the amulet, the entity appeared, more powerful and terrifying than ever. The air grew cold, and the walls seemed to close in around them. Emily knew that they had to act quickly to prevent the entity from escaping and wreaking havoc on the town. With Jack's guidance, Emily began the ritual to activate the amulet. The entity roared in anger, its form writhing and contorting as it tried to break free. The ground shook, and the chamber began to collapse. In a final, desperate effort, Emily completed the ritual, and the entity was drawn into the amulet, trapped within its dark confines. The facility fell silent once again, and the survivors emerged from their hiding places. They were grateful to Emily and Jack for their bravery and determination. Emily knew that the entity was finally defeated, but the scars Emily and Jack filled their the story of Brooksville would live on, a testament to the power of courage and compassion in the face of unimaginable horror. Thank you for joining us on this terrifying journey into the world of zombies. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more spine-chilling tales and mysteries. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Share your thoughts and theories about the zombie outbreak in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going and continue to explore the mysteries of the past together. Stay curious, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video.